If you're a leader and you're struggling, you're not alone. Right now, leaders everywhere, at every level, are struggling. And one of the reasons for that is the fact that change had become exponential. We're living in a world where everything is constantly changing. In the 1990s, the American military realized this, and they developed the concept of VUCA, saying that the new reality leaders need to deal with is a world which has become volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Today, leaders in business and in industry are facing that same reality. In Neuro leadership, we apply 3 key findings from research in social neuroscience to understand how we as leaders can get the best out of the people that we lead. The first key finding is the fact that more than anything else, your brain and my brain wants to survive. In other words, our brains, the primary driver, the one thing that drives our behavior, that drives our brains more than anything else, is the need to survive. It goes right back to the cave. And in order to survive, your brain does 2 things. First of all, it looks after your physiological functions, but secondly, it is constantly scanning for threats and rewards. When it detects a reward, it triggers an automated engage response, pull me towards that. When it triggers a threat, it triggers an automated disengage, the old fight and flight. When I'm in fight and flight mode, my brain basically goes into limp. It goes into a place where I'm less able to think clearly, I'm less able to communicate, to solve problems, to understand the consequences of what I'm doing, to plan into the future, to understand other people's behavior, and many more. The second key finding from social neuroscience is the fact that our brains are basically social organs. In order to survive, over thousands of years, the human brain has been wired to know that the best chance it has for survival is to be accepted in the group, to be part of the group, to be part of the tribe. And so our brains are constantly aware of what's happening in the social context. Very interesting is that our brains use the same neural networks, the same processes with which it scans for physical threats and rewards to also scan for social threats and rewards. And when a social threat is triggered, the same disengage, the same fight or flight mode kicks in, where my brain literally disengages and literally goes into limp mode, and I'm literally in the place where I'm unable to function at my best, to think clearly, communicate, and all the rest. So what this means for leaders is that the way that we interact with our people and the cultures that we create, because remember, as leaders, we are the catalyst of culture. So the cultures that we create, is it a fear culture? Are we leading in ways that induces fear in people? Or is it a brain-friendly culture? Is it a culture, is it an environment where people can perform at their best? And that's basically the essentials of neuro leadership. The third, which is the positive, is the fact that our brains, the human brain, can be rewired. Not only do we grow new brain cells, but also we form new networks. Our brains are constantly forming new networks, neuroplasticity as it is known. And so this means that no matter how we've been leading in the past, no matter which mistakes we've made in the past, we are able to rectify, we are able to change our behavior, to change our habits, and to lead more effectively. To help leaders lead in more brain-friendly ways, we use the CARES model. And the CARES model is based on research which identified 5 areas in which either a fight or flight or an engage response can be triggered in our brains when we interact with other people, when we lead people. And the 5 areas are, first of all, our need for certainty. Our brains are constantly processing the world around us by looking at patterns. And if we know what is next, if we know what to expect next, we can predict more or less what's going to happen next. That puts us at ease. That triggers an engage. When faced with uncertainty, not knowing where we're going, not knowing what's going to happen next, it can trigger a disengage. So leaders in their behavior, if leaders are constant in the behavior, if leaders are behaving in ways that people understand, that can trigger a engage. Second need that our brains have is the need for autonomy or control. We want to feel that we have some level of control, that we're not just being sloshed along, that we can make some of the decisions ourselves. Thirdly, our brains have a need for relatedness. We want to feel that we are safe in the tribe, that we are part of the group, we are part of the team. And how people behave towards me engage or disengage me on that. In the fourth place, the CARES model looks at equity. And equity refers to our sense, our need for fairness. We want to feel that we're being treated fairly. We also want to feel that others around us, our team members, are being treated fairly. And in the fifth place, the CARES model looks at standing, social standing. So our pecking order in the group. None of us want to feel in any group that we are the least important person. We don't necessarily have to be the most important, but we don't want to be the least important. And so leaders can use these 5 CARES factors to help people, to lead people in ways that trigger engage responses in their brains and avoid disengage responses. Think of the consequences of the fight and flight mode in the modern workplace. A group of people, a meeting, a boardroom even, where people are disengaged, not able to function at their best. If, like most companies, you can't afford that, I'm sure you'll understand, you'll see the value in starting to lead with a brain in mind, starting to apply the principles of neuro leadership.